Hi there, and welcome to this gentle prenatal yoga class. Thanks so much for joining me today. For practice, you might want 2 blocks or big hands, and anything else that you like to practice with. So gather up your supplies, and we'll meet today in a supported child's pose. So bring your feet together and your knees out wide. You might bring a block between your feet to support your hips, and another block underneath your forehead to support that space. And that'll allow for a little more space for baby as well. As you rest here, if extending your arms forward is too much of a stretch, feel free to relax them back behind you instead. Take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allow yourself to relax a little more with each exhale. Today in practice, I'll be walking you through a series of shapes. Please take what you need, what feels good, and feel free to leave the rest behind. Now take an inhale breath to find tabletop shape, stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. You might move your blocks to the top sides of your mat at their highest levels. From tabletop, inhale, find your cow pose. Create a U shape through your spine as you lift gaze and tailbone. And exhale, cat, hug your baby in as you arch your spine through the ceiling. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat, gentle core engagement. Now take a few more of these with your breath to loosen up spine, hips, and shoulders. Feel free to incorporate any movements here that might feel good for you today. After your next exhale, find a nice long neutral spine tabletop. Inhale, spinal balance, lift your left arm in front, your right leg behind. Might feel good to circle out wrist and ankle. And then make your way back to stillness, but stay lifted. Inhale, reach. Exhale, plant your hand. Keep your legs straight, but tap your toes down to the mat. Now press into your hands to shift your hips back for a little calf stretch here. Breathe into your calf. Now bring your hips back over your knees and bring your left foot outside of your mat. Plant your entire right foot so your foot turns towards the long edge of your mat. Press into your left hand to open your right arm up towards the ceiling. Stay there or reach towards the top of your space for a little bit more of a side body stretch. Really press through the pinky toe edge of your back foot. From here, make your way into tabletop shape, coming to all fours. You might take a moment to loosen up your spine. Side 2, inhale, reach right arm in front, left leg behind. And again, maybe circle out wrist and ankle. Inhale, reach. Hold, engage. Keep breathing. And now plant your hand, keep your legs straight, but tap your toes down and press back into your calf stretch. Take a moment here to breathe into your left calf. Now shift back to neutral. Dial your right toes out to the right, plant your entire left foot, toes towards the long edge of your mat. Press into your right hand to lift your left arm, opening up your hips. Stay there, hand towards ceiling, or reach your arm towards the top of your space for a little side body stretch. Inhale, arm reaches high, and exhale, make your way back into tabletop shape. Maybe take a moment to shake it out. Inhale here, and exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands one handprint forward. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back. It might feel good here to bend one knee and then the other. Perhaps sway hips or heels or shoulders from side to side. Now inhale, bend your knees, look forward. And on your exhale, begin to make your way to the top of your space. If you can arrive wider than your hips, bend your knees. Now bring your elbows to your thighs and your hands together, your fingertips together for Goddess Squat. Keep your spine fairly straight and reach the crown of your head forward. We'll be in this shape many times in class. Also, this is a great position for labor. Inhale here. On your exhale, round your spine and then curl up one vertebra at a time. Once you've made your way to standing, you might roll out your shoulders or your neck a few times. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, Samasti Tihi, bring your hands to heart center. If you have any intention or dedication for your practice today, take a moment to bring that to your mind and into your heart space. Now inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Feel the stretch. And exhale, bend your elbows and interlace your hands behind your head. And then tilt over to your right for a side body stretch. Hug your baby in here. And it might feel good to bring your hips a little to the left to exaggerate the stretch. Continue to find your core engagement. Inhale, come to neutral. And exhale, tilt your body over to the left. Maybe bump your hips a little to the right. If available, keep your elbows out wide here. Inhale, lift back up. And exhale, bring your elbows around your head. Gentle back bend, lift your gaze, lift your heart. Keep hugging your baby in. Inhale, release, arms reach overhead. And exhale, soften your knees as you dive forward. Bring your hands to your blocks, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your weight to your right leg. And exhale, step your left leg back into a lunge. Now tap your left knee down. You might toe heel your right foot further to the right, and then bring your hands and your blocks to the inside of your right knee. Press into your hands and allow your hips to sink forward to stretch out your right glute and hip, and your left hip flexor in runner's lunge. Gaze straight forward here. Now we'll set up for half splits, so bring your right hand on the outside of your right foot, and then walk your hands and your blocks back until your right leg comes to straight and your right toes lift. Press into your blocks, and then encourage a straight spine, stretching your tailbone back behind you, and reaching your heart towards your toes. Breathe into your right hamstrings. Now inhale, come back forward to your lunge. Tuck your left toes under, lift your left knee, and exhale, step together, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your weight to your left leg, and exhale, step your right leg back. Tap your knee down. Toe heel your left foot further left, and then bring your blocks back to the inside of your left leg for runner's lunge on this side. Allow your hips to sink forward as much as feels good, and breathe into this stretch. Now bring your left hand and block outside of your left leg. Walk hands and hips back so your left leg comes to straight and your left toes lift for half splits. Lengthen your spine, reach your hips back and your heart forward towards your toes. Keep your gaze also towards your toes so your neck stays long. You might curl your left toes towards your face to intensify this stretch. Now inhale, come back forward to your lunge, tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee, and exhale, step your right foot behind your block, forward fold. Inhale, Goddess Squat, elbows to knees. Exhale, round your spine, roll up one vertebra at a time. Inhale, arms reach overhead, and exhale, sit low into your chair pose, Utkatasana. Bring your weight back towards your heels. You can lift your toes if you wanted to. Pull your knees towards one another as if you're squeezing a block. Engage your core and lift your heart. Inhale. Exhale, vertical twist to the right. Sweep your right arm behind you, left arm in front. Press into your feet and guide your right knee back forward. Energize your arms. Inhale, unwind chair pose. And exhale, vertical twist to the left. On this side, press into your feet, guide your left knee forward. Continue to hug your baby in. Inhale, unwind, chair pose. And exhale, come to standing. Take a moment to shake it out. Bring your weight to your right leg and step your left leg back into a lunge. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, crescent lunge. Feel free to toe heel your right foot further to the right if this is feeling a little unstable. Press into your left toes to guide your left hip forward and hug your baby in here. Take an inhale breath. And exhale, warrior two. Step your back toes to face towards the long edge of your mat. Bring your arms to a T. Moving into a shoulder stretch, you can bring hand to opposite shoulder, maybe back of hand to back of hand, or palm to palm for your eagle wrap. If you have the full wrap, you might intensify the stretch by lifting your elbows to block your view, and then reaching your hands a little bit away from your head. Press into your back foot to drive your lunge on your right knee. Inhale and wind your eagle arms. Exhale, extended side angle, reach forward, and then bring right elbow to right thigh. Left arm sweeps the horizon and reaches overhead. Take some back strokes with your left arm, and eventually land that arm behind you for a half bind. You can tuck it into your waistband or maybe reach for your right thigh. Pivot your heart and gaze up towards the ceiling. Now release your bind. Inhale, pull up to star pose, arms overhead, toes towards the long edge of your mat. And exhale, goddess, bring your toes out and your heels in. You can bring your hands to heart center and maybe sway your hips side to side to settle into this shape. This is another great position for labor, opening up your hips, working with gravity. All right, inhale, lift up, star pose. And exhale, bring your hands to your hips, parallel your feet. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhale, begin to hinge forward. Feel free to grab one of your blocks and bring it underneath you so you have a little support in this wide-legged forward fold. You might find it better to reach the crown of your head forward rather than rounding your spine here. Inhale, halfway lift your heart. And exhale, take your block with you, pivot over your right shoulder, find your lunge towards the top of your space. Inhale, look forward, and exhale, step behind your blocks. Inhale, goddess squat. And exhale, round your spine, roll all the way up to standing. Inhale, arms reach overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Bring your weight to your left leg, step your right leg back into your lunge. Gain your balance, inhale, arms reach overhead. On this side, encourage your left hip back, your right hip forward. Don't forget your core engagement. Final inhale here. And exhale, warrior two. Move back into your eagle arms, maybe hands to opposite shoulders. Back of hand to back of hand, or palm to palm. If you've got the full wrap, lift your elbows, bring your thumbs away from you. Revisit your lunge. Inhale, unwind your arms. Exhale, extended side angle, reach forward. Drop your left elbow to your left thigh. And reach your right arm up and overhead. Again, take a couple back strokes. And eventually land your right arm behind you for that a half bind. Just like before, shine heart and gaze more towards the ceiling. Release your bind. Inhale, lift up, star pose. And exhale, goddess pose, toes out, heels in. Again, take a moment to sway side to side. It's giving your hips a nice deep stretch. Inhale, lift up, star pose. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips, parallel your feet. Inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, surrender forward, Prasarita, straddle stretch. Again, bring your block underneath you to have a little bit more space for baby. And breathe into this shape. You're more than welcome to add a little bend to your knees if your hamstrings are feeling tight here. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, take your block with you, forward fold to the top of your space. Inhale, look forward, and exhale, step your feet behind your blocks. Inhale, goddess squat. Exhale, round your spine, begin to lift up to standing. Inhale, arms reach overhead, and exhale, hands to heart center. Moving into a little balance next, I'm just turning to demo for you. We'll move into tree pose. So bring your weight to your left leg, lift your right. You can bring it to your ankle, a little higher up your shin. Please skip your knee, but you can go all the way up to your thigh. Once your leg's in place, you might bring your hands to heart center, find your balance. And once you have, grow branches or find any arm variation that feels good for you here. Really press the ground away here. Take up some space. One more inhale. And with your exhale, gently release. It might feel good to kind of shake out your ankles. And we'll prepare for side two. So bring your weight to your right, lift your left. Same options as before. Again, please skip your knee. Bring your hands to heart center, find your balance, and then grow your branches, your expression of tree pose. See if you can lengthen your breath, even while you're focusing on this balance. One more breath in. And exhale, begin to release. Shake it out. Now step your feet a little wider, turn your toes out, and bend your knees generously for Malasana, frog pose. Option here to slide a block underneath your hips to give yourself a little support. And once again, a really great labor position, working with gravity again, opening up our hips. You can press your elbows into your knees to intensify that. Press your knees back into your elbows, use that leverage to keep lifting your heart. Now plant your hands, remove your block, and we'll meet in tabletop shape, coming to all fours. I'm showing you this from the back. We're finding toes pose, so tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. Feet are together, big toes to touch. If this feels intense, grab one of your blocks, maybe both, and slide it between hips and heels. Now I'll turn back around so you can stay there. As you settle in, bring your arms into a cactus shape and create fist with your arms. We'll hold here for a little bit to mimic the intensity of a labor contraction and to help you practice getting through it. Just like I'm doing, feel free to move your head around, your arms around, but do your best to keep toes pose, your toes tucked under, and to keep your arms in this strong cactus. We are more than halfway there. Keep breathing. You can do this. Three more honest rounds of breath. Now gently begin to release your hands down. Plant them in front of you. Make your way back into your tabletop shape. You can let your toes hang to begin. Wiggle them out. Feel all of the sensation. And then take a moment to sit back on your heels. Just rest. Nice job. We have one more shorter set. So find your way back to tabletop shape. Bring knees and toes together. Tuck your toes and sit back on your heels. Bring your arms back into your cactus shape. And again, use your breath. Feel free to wiggle. Remember, we're only here for a little bit longer. More than halfway there. Feel free to move around. You can do this. Take one more inhale. Exhale, release. Great job. Again, plant your hands, lift your toes, shake them out. Maybe tap your toes onto the mat. You might sit back on your heels. Just take a moment to relax. And now shift your hips to one side or the other. And bring your legs out wide to a V shape. Bring your blocks in front of you. You can bring them to any level. You might need to adjust them as we move into this shape. Now begin to lean forward, bring your elbows to your blocks, and then drop your chin to your hands. You can customize this shape by changing which level your block's on, or sliding your blocks forward or back to move in or out of this stretch. Relax your legs and your jaw, and just breathe here. Take 3 more rounds of breath into this straddle stretch. And then begin to lift back up. You can move your blocks out of your way. And then bring your hands underneath your knees to start to bend your knees and close them up. Might feel good here to plant your hands behind you, to lift your heart, and to windshield wiper your knees from side to side, just to release into your lower back. Bring some energy back into your legs. Now begin to bring your feet together and your knees out wide for a butterfly shape. Grab one of your blocks, put it back in front of you. Perhaps stack your second block on top of your first, and then hinge forward, dropping your forehead to your blocks. Again, you can adjust this by bringing your blocks to different levels or scooting them forward or back to change your support. Allow your legs and your back to relax as much as feels good. And you might trace your breath through the back lines of your body. Take 3 more rounds of breath into your butterfly stretch. And with your next inhale breath, start to lift back up. You can slide your blocks out of the way. Bring your hands underneath your knees, close your knees up towards the ceiling. And once again, plant your hands, lift your heart, tick-tock your knees side to side. We'll set up for our final shape next, which is Shavasana. We'll take a fetal position on the left side. You might grab one of your blocks and slide it between your knees to support your hips. You can bring the other block underneath your head, or you can rest your head on your bicep. Allow yourself to rest here as your body absorbs all of the benefits of your yoga practice. I'll be guiding you out in just a few moments. Now begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle out your fingers and your toes. Circle out your wrists, your ankles. Tuck your chin to your chest. Remove your block. Keep your head heavy. Press into your hands to lift yourself back up to a seat. Feel free to sit up on your block or on any props. Take a moment to get set up. Once you feel situated, bring your hands to prayer position in front of your heart space. The light and the love and the teacher within me sees and bows to the same within you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Take care.